Vale, gente, estamos directo. Hoy voy a empezar un jueguito que se llama The Stanley Parable. La palabra de Stanley, ¿vale? Y es un juego que... Idioma para los subtítulos y el texto en pantalla. Espérate. Ah, bueno, español, vale, ya está. ¿Jugaste Stanley Parable alguna vez? No. Ajusta la barra, vale. Voy a ponerlo un poquito más brillante y ya está. Introduce la hora actual. Las 13. 9 de la mañana. No puedo... Ahora. La 1 PM, la 1:12. Ahí. Puedes acceder a la configuración de accesibilidad desde el menú principal. Es un juego, creo que de un oficinista. Y una voz nos va diciendo exactamente lo que tenemos que hacer. Y el juego juega un poquito con nosotros. Español, mostrar subtítulos, sí. Vale, pues iniciar partida. No sé muy bien de qué va, podemos hacerle caso, podemos no hacerle caso. En plan, el juego está interesante.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
¡Ay, puta! Bueno, nos dimos cuenta de que no nos llegaba ninguna orden en el monitor, así que nos movimos. Vale.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vale. Vamos a la sala de reuniones.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Izquierda. Vamos a hacerle caso. Un momentito. Que la chihuahua intenta pasar a la habitación. Vamos a hacerle caso.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase,
Vamos a subir o bajar, vamos a subir.
Upstairs to his boss's office.
Subí hacia la oficina de su jefe. Vale.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845.
2845.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ajá.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself. to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
De hecho, se te puede cerrar el juego y todo,
Stanley
o sea.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escapa. Mind Control Facility. Venga, vamos a hacerlo.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
De momento voy a hacerle caso.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
El 104 está despedido.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Por aquí. Nos estaban controlando mentalmente. A ver. Off. Lo apagamos. Hemos hecho todo lo que nos ha dicho la voz.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before
Pues se terminó bien, ¿no?
This was exactly the way, right now, things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Hola. En menos de 10 minutos te puedes pasar el juego. Termina el juego. Completa de Stanley Parable. Consigue tu primer trofeo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
Y
mean?
volvemos a empezar.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Vamos a ir por la derecha ahora.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Me porta a la izquierda, por aquí, no.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired.
Era muy malo para seguir indicaciones.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
¿Qué?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
No.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
La azul otra vez, me voy por esta.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? I think I put a lot of time into that, because I did. And in the end it was all for nothing, because this is what you
No puedes saltar. No, en serio, desactivamos la opción. Por darle la X para intentar saltar.
What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me, you've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
¿Y si no? What?
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again,
no.
Honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Nuevo juego.
Let me boot it up.
What?
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice.
Vamos a dejar que el bebé se
But of
queme.
course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over.
Oh,
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
¿vas a jugar el juego de otra persona?
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Vale, ya estoy. Esas mierdas las dibujaba la gente, tío, en mi Insta, no sé por qué. ¿Qué tengo que hacer? Es un guardabosques. Hostia, esto me suena al... ¿Esto no es un juego que se llama Firewatching o algo así? ¿Firewatch? ¿Es del mismo desarrollador?
No, it can't be.
¿Qué pasa?
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
No,
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Me quiere limitar este tío.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
¿Rocket League?
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here.
Me acabo de meter en Rocket League.
Is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Sonará el pan.
Are you doing
Ah,
it?
pues no.
Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a
Rocket League?
certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more
Va a meter más
sports
pelotas.
experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball. Yes, Oh, goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls.
¡Hala! What the fuck, qué locura, me metí en Rocket League. Pero este aquí es de Stanley Parable Deluxe, como una mejora.
Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over. That's right.
Oh.
Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say... Hold on. What are you doing?
Si me tiro por aquí.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Me vuelvo a caer. ¿Dónde estamos? Uy, qué miedo. What the fuck, todo esto está en desarrollo. He dicho que aquí no me va a poder seguir. ¿Pero este juego era de Epic? ¿O cómo? Porque para poder meter Rocket League... Pesado.
Wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's known the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
What? ¿Y si vamos por donde pone escapa? Desde el primer momento.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What? Dinero en la mañana, dinero por la tarde, dinero en la merienda. What? What? Ya, ¿no? Es el mismo sitio, no me he movido.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened.
Vamos a llegar hasta el final donde pone escapa.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door
Escape.
that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his
Se
violent
encontraría con
death.
una muerte violenta.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
No, voy a seguir recto.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
¿Sí? What?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Dios mío. No.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly
Oh.
into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body,
Ay, muerto.
killing him instantly.
No. What?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
What? Lo que hemos visto antes. Kevin Brixton, la voz del narrador, grabó el diálogo de todo el juego en 3 momentos diferentes a lo largo de los 2 años de desarrollo. Aquí hay tomas iniciales que no se utilizaron en el juego final.
The orange lever.
What the fuck es este juego, tú? Final de la libertad. Esta fue la primera versión del final de la libertad, en la versión alfa del juego. Criterio de la cuenta regresiva. Final de la libertad. Es el final de la libertad de la versión beta.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another.
Stanley
How they
Parable,
both
¿sí o
wish to
no?
be free.
Sí. Bueno, tiro de la
Can you
palanca.
see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to.
¡Hala! Apaga la Play. No hay otra forma de
As long
superar
as
este
you move
juego.
forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let.
No.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could
¿Y
it
si
mean?
apago la Play?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Apago la
he'd
Play.
simply missed a memo.
Si cierro el juego y vuelvo a abrirlo. Sí, porque sí. Qué locura, tú. Una 43. Momento. Antes de que empecemos, ¿puedo decir algo? Gracias por configurar la hora las 2 veces que iniciaste el juego. Mucha gente no se toma en serio este paso. Deja el reloj en 12 y sigue adelante. Pero tú te tomaste el tiempo de configurarlo y te lo agradezco. Ahora sé que esta experiencia es importante para ti. Estás prestando atención. Ni siquiera tengo forma de saber si la hora que pusiste es la correcta. ¿Sabes algo? Hagamos un trato. Como cooperaste, la próxima vez que reinicies el juego y veas esta pantalla, pon tu hora favorita en el reloj. Adelante, elige la hora que quieras. Aunque no sea la correcta, te lo ganaste. Bien, ya te dejo que vuelvas al videojuego. ¡Oh! What the fuck? Iniciar partida.
This is the
Hora de nuevo. Sal del juego y vuelve a empezarlo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
What the fuck?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Vamos a ir por abajo ahora.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
What?
All because he believed everyone had
Un
vanished.
bucle esto.
His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it
1,
made
2,
any logical
B4.
sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. and he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I
me
may
llama
as
la
well
Araceli.
enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question
Hola?
of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was
¿Escuchas?
amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
Dime.
Why is
Estoy
there a
jugando de
voice in
Stanley
my
Parable.
head dictating everything that I'm doing in
No sé si
the
sabes lo que es. Es un juego que juega
The voice was
contigo, por así
describing
decirlo.
itself being
Mira.
considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and
No deja de hablar.
spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was
Que no
Stanley
deja de
simply
repetirse.
deceiving
Tiene
himself?
que dejar de hablar el
Thinking that
narrador.
if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself.
Abobeado.
Stanley is
No. Es un juego que parece estar bugueado. De hecho, he reiniciado el juego y me ha dicho... acabas de reiniciar el juego, me he dado cuenta. Gracias por ponerla ahora por segunda vez. Este juego te lo estás tomando en serio. Es como...
He knew for certain,
What?
without doubt, that this was in fact a dream.
O sea, el juego juega
Stop
contigo.
seeing float and make the magical stars just a moment ago. How else would the
Dice,
voice
mira, mírate
explain
abajo, no te
that?
verás los pies.
This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
No puedo hacer nada.
So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
No voy a
I'm
estar
through
despierto,
this
¿no?
dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Ay, mira la gata como duerme.
I am okay.
No. Sigue en el mismo sitio. No es un sueño.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Y todo se puso negro. What? Qué locura.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
¿Qué?
Mariella
Mariela.
woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to
What?
her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a
El
man
cadáver de un
who had
hombre.
stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
¿Cómo obtener todos los finales? A ver. Final no dispuesto.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
What? A ver. Sueño locura, que es el que hemos hecho. Trabajo. A ver.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Son los finales sin spoilers, o sea, yo no sé lo que va a pasar. Sé lo que tengo que hacer, pero no sé lo que va a pasar. Un momento. ¿Vale? Ahí. Y quieren encontrar un teléfono. ¿Cuántos trofeos tiene este juego? No muchos. Juega Stanley Parable durante todo un martes. 8888. Haz clic en la puerta 430 5 veces. $4.30, luego lo hacemos.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
¿Y el ascensor esta vez?
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
Uy, se raya.
From here, it's, left. Oh, no.
Uy.
No, it's to the right, my mistake.
¿Se va a equivocar otra vez?
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to,
Está rayando.
It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
What?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
4:30, ¿no? Ya lo he hecho, hola. Ve a pisar el césped. No juegues a Stanley Parable durante 10 años. What?
When Stanley... Wait.
¿Qué?
No, I restarted. I
No
swear
lo
I definitely
reinicié.
restarted the game
What?
completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Aquí. What the fuck?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Y me reinicia.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
A ver si cambia algo ahora. No hay puertas.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Tengo que volver. ¿Me ha dicho que tengo que volver o algo?
Aha! I
Uh.
knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
What the fuck?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Boom.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable
Ha hecho una
Adventure
línea.
Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
A ver.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Vale, me ha puesto música.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story?
What?
No, not again.
Otra
Line,
vez
how
aquí.
could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you,
Línea.
after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Ok. Y ahora.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Vale.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Increíble aventura.
Oh, no. not
Oh, la
that again.
línea.
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Si hago caso. Ah, se va por ahí. Vale.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this?
El final de la confusión.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is?
El narrador se olvida de los reinicios anteriores.
And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again.
Después de mucho tiempo, Stanley
Am I
muere.
just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped?
Se paró el cronómetro, what the fuck?
Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The whatever it is that made this schedule, how would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
¿Qué más está café de cápsula?
I guess now we
Yes.
just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey.
Qué locura este juego, nunca lo había jugado, pero está muy chulo, me encantan estos juegos.
So I hope that's where we
Oh.
are right now.
De Stanley
We'll find
Parable.
out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you
¿Qué coño?
Yeah.
Se acaba de reiniciar. ¿What? ¿El narrador se acuerda ahora de los reinicios?
coworkers will
Se ha olvidado de los reinicios.
Stanley decided to go to
What?
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Nuevo contenido. What?
Oh, new content? What does that mean? New content.
What? Y aún se tiene que reiniciar el juego 4 veces. Hasta que al final el protagonista se muere. Porque el narrador desaparece. ¿Qué?
Hello, and thank
Ojalá
you
yo.
for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the
Como sabrás, Stanley Parable fue un videojuego que se publicó en 2013 para computadoras domésticas.
after receiving
Tras su éxito comercial y las buenas críticas recibidas, en 2022 se expandió con The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game.
Una nueva versión del juego para consolas y computadoras domésticas.
The Stanley Parable
Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe incluye contenido nuevo e interesante que amplía el mundo de The Stanley Parable,
world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences.
por deleitar a las audiencias del mundo entero.
Please step inside.
Así descubre qué aventuras emocionantes y novedosas te esperan en The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Esto de aquí ya es Ultra Deluxe.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure
What?
it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Oye, ¿no quieres que me corte el
Vamos a
pelo?
amarrar juegos. Me da igual, a lo que quieras.
¿Ah?
Is it broken?
Es tu
What's going
pelo.
on here? Should
No
we
sé. Bueno, venga,
Mientras
va.
no se rape,
be moving somewhere
¿No quieres que me rape?
There we go. All right, finally,
No.
at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Algún día me
Ay,
raparé.
no, No, no.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Dame el contenido.
All right. All right, let's
El
see.
círculo de salto, voy a poder saltar.
The jumps.
¡Oh! Tengo que hacer 30 saltos.
¿Qué coño?
Y aquí no puedo saltar, pero si entro aquí... Aquí sí. Tengo que saltar. 8, 7,
Ya
6.
los juegos.
¿Y si lo desenchufo?
Is that it?
¿Es todo?
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Y no puedo saltar más. ¿Otro ascensor? Bueno, me han dejado saltar.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
Pero yo quería llegar a un final donde hay un teléfono y he acabado llegando como a la Ultra Deluxe. No sé, qué raro.
Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box.
Sí.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content.
Quiero jugar. Quiero jugar.
Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Quiero.
Thank you for enjoying the new...
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley?
No hay nada
This is
más.
what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush
Es
a cheap
verdad.
expansion to market for no reason
Qué cosa
other
tan
than to make an easy
tonta, ¿no?
game.
El juego.
And don't
No,
get me
pero
started
es
on the
la gracia. Y ahora de repente se reiniciará. Pero es que ahora se supone que estoy en un bucle. Y a lo mejor ahora si pauso el juego y vuelvo me dice, oye, ¿por qué me pausas? O sea, el juego juega contigo.
I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to
Madre
believe
mía.
one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them.
Voy a buscar a estas personas en Twitter y las voy a hacer personalmente.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just...
¿Por qué no reiniciamos el juego? Este es el quinto reinicio, ¿no?
Get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no
Uf, qué
gimmicks.
coñazo.
Just you and me having a great time together like
Se ha reiniciado el juego ya como 15
Say,
veces.
friend.
¿Qué dices, amigo? ¡Oh! Se me
Tienes que
reinicia.
hacer lo mismo.
No. Es diferente todo. ¿Ahora aparezco? ¿Dónde estoy? ¿What?
Psst. Stanley,
Eh,
come over here. In the vent. I want to show you
Voy a
something.
mostrarte algo. The fuck? What?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra
2 minutos me
Deluxe
voy a lavar los
content turned out
dientes,
to
me he
be? Well, it
visto
got me
y ya
thinking about the
al media
past
me voy.
and how much
No,
better
a
the Stanley
trabajar.
Parable used to be. So I made something special.
What?
Qué
Away here
gracioso
where the game's
eres.
developers won't find it. Just our little
Sí.
secret.
Lo que no hace tu montar el país.
I call it the
He salido.
Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, and over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art,
Un minuto.
Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to
No.
be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all
Pilla un tren a Blanes.
the original Stanley Parable was.
Sí, claro, ahora.
It was literally
Jugamos a
every
los bolos.
game ever created. It was Skyrim.
Sí.
It was Persona
¿Qué?
3. It was
Skyrim,
Other.
Persona
Now,
3.
It's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Original.
Here's another moving
Bueno,
message. This
yo me
time
voy.
from GameSpot.com.
No.
The Stanley Parable is both a
Adiós.
Escúchame, no tienes por qué irte.
Ya claro, me tengo que lavar los dientes, tengo que vestirme, con el uniforme y tengo que irme.
¿Qué uniforme tienes?
Pues el de trabajo.
Oh.
¿Qué?
Yo te
Es
quiero
una
ver.
camiseta de negros en los tejanos, ¿no?
Oh.
O sea, es-
Digo, a lo mejor es una falda así. Ya sé que no, ya sé que no.
pantalones largos.
Oh, me había
Pero seguro
ilusionado.
que tú con el uniforme la otra vez y no te empanaste.
Sí, a lo mejor te vi, ¿eh? Seguramente te vi. Jope.
Pero te pones una camiseta de rayas de color marrón.
Algún día te iré a ver a Matro Park.
No, por favor, qué vergüenza.
Ya. Que te vaya bien el trabajo, adeu.
¿Estás enfadado?
No. ¿Por qué?
Ah,
¿Por qué
vale.
todo el mundo me dice que me he enfadado?
No sé, es que lo has hecho de una manera
No.
que te vaya bien el
No.
trabajo, adeu.
No. Que te vaya muy bien. Pásalo bien. Que te sea ameno.
Ja, ja, ja. Me lo voy a pasar bomba. Adeu.
Chao. Se fue.
Proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to
Coño,
make a
que se me
silly
cae
work
encima.
of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
No me esperaba esto de este
Okay, let's see
juego,
what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant drone... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Hostia.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room.
A ver, una vez más.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's...
Una semana.
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting.
Una vez más.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved?
Creo que no está quizá, ¿eh? Ni está el narrador. Han pasado cientos de años, ¿eh?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and...
Qué chulo.
The end is never the end, 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 is...
Calla, qué miedo. Hostias. Han pasado cientos de años, creo yo, ¿eh? ¿Por qué todo negro otra vez? ¿Y esos sonidos? Creo que me he quedado solo, ¿eh? No funciona el botón. What the fuck. What the fuck. What the fuck.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He
New
made a note.
content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show
Es
you.
diferente a otra vez. What? Antes me he ido recto. No me habla.
Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be.
Sí.
The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so
Stanley
many
Parable 2.
possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
¿Eh? Mira, nuevo trofeo gratis. A ver.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Vale, pero esto no funciona. Hay que volver, ¿no?
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
What?
Ah, collectibles.
Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
1 de 6, ok. Selecciónalos todos.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic. Calling it Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley... Oh, goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
No me dejes saltar más. Vale, el hoyo infinito. ¿Esto?
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Felices 12 años.
Sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Sería mejórate. Algún día. Mira, merch.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
A mí decidir el nombre del jugador.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first edition... Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now...
De momento el nombre, el botón solo dice Jim.
But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Ahora me llamará Jim.
Play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see?
Madre mía.
What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Jim.
Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Jim.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away.
Jim.
Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim.
Pues nada, lo llevó. Podemos volver, ¿vale? Pues ahora no somos Stanley, somos Jim.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
A ver esto. Es mundial de la configuración. El hoyo gigante.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling.
Una
You
caída
can
infinita.
fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Dale.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
¿Y si no?
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of
Ajá, o sea que tiene fin.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a...
Tiene fin.
Hey, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now,
Vale,
I'm very
what?
excited to show you even more
vale.
of my ideas for the sequel.
¿Y qué? No puedo irme. Sigue habiendo el muro ese. O ya puedo irme. Sí.
No? You're just going to ignore my advice?
¿Qué?
Fine. No fun new content for you then. You're the one who spent money on this game. So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's
El,
sort of... Okay, never mind.
el bucket, lo del trofeo, el botón, la zona de salto, el agujero infinito.
Better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley?
Los coleccionables
This
por
isn't
ahí.
a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
A ver. Stanley Parable 2. Iniciar partida. A ver qué ha hecho.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
¿Puedo omitir?
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 4.
No, porque no hay globos.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor.
Omito.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No. Espera volver.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ya vuelve a ser el mismo juego, ¿no?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Creo que ya está.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once
Mira,
again
2.8.
stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming
¿En serio?
music.
Voy a por mi comida.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked
pues no.
forward into the opened passageway.
¡Eh!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done.
Claro, este
You
es de
can't
Stanley
buy
Parable
this
2.
happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Gente, lo voy a dejar aquí. ¿Me pone de Stanley Parable 2? Sí. ¿Y si ahora cierro el juego? ¿Y lo vuelvo a abrir? ¿Me pondrá de Stanley Parable 2? Ah, las 2:41, tu hora favorita. Oh, ¿será que no pudiste resistirte y me diste la hora correcta otra vez? Después de todo, sé que disfrutas de poner la hora correcta. Ahora quiero saber qué tan precisa es la hora 2:41. Usemos otra barra deslizante. ¿Qué tan precisa es la hora 2:41? Precisa. ¿Sabes una cosa? Sin importar la precisión del reloj, lo estoy pasando genial ajustando estas configuraciones. Siento que estoy conociéndote mejor y entiendo cómo te gustan las cosas. Reunir datos es bueno. Ojalá tuviera más barras deslizantes, pero ya las usamos todas. Quizá pueda inventar algunas barras deslizantes nuevas para reunir más datos sobre ti. No debería ser muy difícil. Sí, voy a crear algunas. Deberían estar listas la próxima vez que inicies el juego. Y pone de Stanley Parable 2, vale. Pues seguramente continúe el juego. ¿Vale? Entonces voy a cerrarlo. Y en el siguiente directo continuamos, porque me está molando. Me está pareciendo muy divertido. Así que lo dejo aquí. Y en el siguiente directo, para adelante. ¿Vale? Espero que os haya molado. Me ha sorprendido este juego. ¿Vale? Así que lo continuaré. Me despido. Adiós.